Both of these wrecks drop down into deep water, and both often have fairly strong currents sweeping over them. But the great thing about the location of the Aida and the Numidia is that they attract huge amounts of marine life. They're covered in soft and hard corals from top to bottom. And of course, there's always the chance to catch a glimpse of some of the many sharks that roam around the Brothers, one of the best dive destinations in the Red Sea, or anywhere for that matter. Dropping down the steep walls of Big Brother, the water is especially blue. It's the perfect backdrop for two exceptional wreck dives. Approaching the Aida on the top of the western wall, the ghostly image of a broken ship comes into view well below the 20-metre mark. But after moving down the steeply inclined outer deck, the often exceptional visibility makes it possible to glimpse the far reaches of this French-built supply ship. The largely intact hold area can prove a tempting invitation to delve deep inside the wreck, whose stern is right at the limits of normal sport diving at around 60 metres. From this dangerously deep vantage point, it's almost possible to survey the entire remains of this 15,000-ton vessel. Divers who've investigated the history of this impressive wreck discovered that she first became a casualty of war in 1941. She was the target of German bombers in the early part of the First World War, but her damage was such that she was able to sail again. It was years later when, in 1957, the Aida was trying to deliver supplies to the Big Brother jetty, that she finally succumbed to hazardous weather and eventually tumbled down the wall of the reef. Whatever battering she took and continues to take, much of the ship remains intact, inside and out. She also enjoys a luxuriant coral growth, even at depth, especially along her exposed hull. Aida also provides shelter in the strong currents for a wide variety of fish life. There's the inevitable glassfish swarming inside the bridge area. There are also groupers and lionfish who've made the deck their home. Big Brother Island is one of the most exposed of all the Red Sea islands, which is why it provides all year round lighthouse cover. Its remoteness is also one of the big attractions for the many dive boats that come here. A lot of divers come here primarily for the wrecks. Often the Aida is a good first dive of the day because of its depth. Starting at around 20 metres, she's to be found sloping vertically on the western edge of the northern end of the island. Aida was launched in 1911 in France, and much of her 70 metres in length is still in evidence. Her actual use was fairly mundane, sometimes as an Egyptian troop carrier, but mostly as a cargo vessel, providing supplies to Big Brother Lighthouse and Red Sea ports. It's a job that her namesake continues to this day. Further along, right on the tip of the northern wall, is the more impressive Numidia. Her giant frame juts out from the reef in a similar vertical manner. Though many of the ship's remnants are near the surface, she drops down to a dangerously alluring 80 meters, with her mast at the halfway point prodding at the open ocean. Strong currents usually mean the Numidia is best approached by plunging down the reef ahead of the wreck. Her impressive bulk looms large into view. As the well-known wreck diving authority Ned Middleton observed, she gives the appearance of defying the laws of gravity, just like the Aida. Once on the wreck, divers are fairly well protected from the currents that often race along the point. A rare but thrilling treat is to see the resident grey reef sharks making the most of these currents that buffet the wreck. They've probably been regular visitors since her demise over a century ago. Numidia's history was brutally short. She was built in Glasgow in 1901, a shade under 140 metres in length. But in July the same year, in good conditions, she crashed into the rocks, most likely because the officer of the watch fell asleep. The battle to save her proved in vain. Such misfortunes are common throughout the Red Sea and provide divers with perfect undersea playgrounds. The Numidia's distinctive lifeboat davits, railings and masts make her a sight for sore eyes. Deep inside the large holds and up towards the well-preserved engine room, she's a veritable treasure for lovers of wreck diving. Numidia's outer shell is smothered in a rich variety of marine life, becoming increasingly more luxuriant towards her bow. Among the most distinctive and most photographed features of the Numidia are her picturesque railway engine wheels, which lie in the shallows. This is a place where man's follies of the past meet nature in all its glory. As if the wrecks are not reason enough to dive, Big Brother, the steep-sided walls are simply superlative. It appears no one knows the name of the petrol tanker, but it's a rare treat to be able to dive this wreck. It's believed she was sunk by a torpedo during the Second World War. We were lucky enough to dive her in gin-clear water one day. Then there's the tugboat at Abu Ghulawa, which is smothered in beautiful corals. She's especially good for night diving. And in the same vicinity is a relative newcomer in the form of a small sailing boat, which sank amid some of the most stunning corals anywhere in the Red Sea. As the southern Red Sea has become more and more accessible, more and more of Egypt's undersea secrets have been given up. In this maze of pristine coral gardens at Abu Ghulawa in the Fury Shoals are the fruits of millions of years of evolution. This is a real diver's paradise, and it's here that we also find a variety of man-made additions, which the sea is gradually turning into even more appealing features. The smallest is a 15-metre yacht of unknown origin. It hardly seems to matter, though, why she sank. Surrounded by a healthy reef system, she's now started to provide an anchor for yet more coral. And inside, there's evidence that her hull has become a nursery for fledgling barracuda. Further along we find the swarms of glassfish playing out a constant battle for survival against the highly agile grouper. In these well-protected shallow seas, we can perhaps get a better idea of how the yacht may fare in a few decades' time by visiting the wreck of the Tienstin, as she's known among most divers, a few miles away. She's especially inviting at night when the lights reveal another side of the Red Sea marine life. So overgrown in coral is this tugboat that parts are barely recognisable as